Hey guys, I'm Mike Rivers with the Rivers Group at Compass Real Estate, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Boston's smallest neighborhood, the very charming Bay Village. And if you are serious about making a move in the near future, please feel free to reach out at that number below or fill out the quick form in the description. I absolutely love being a resource for people who are moving around anywhere in the Boston area, so whether you are brand new to the city or you're just looking for a little bit of help with your home search, please feel free to reach out and I'm happy to help you. And just as a heads up guys, because the Bay Village neighborhood is so small compared to the other surrounding neighborhoods in Boston, I would highly recommend taking a look at some of the other videos I've done profiling those other neighborhoods, because if you are living in Bay Village, chances are you're going to be spending quite a bit of time in those other neighborhoods. So where exactly is Bay Village and what are those surrounding neighborhoods? Well, Bay Village lies right in the heart of the city, nestled between the Back Bay, the South End, and downtown Boston. And actually the location is the perfect place to kick off our list of pros. So pro number one is that central location. And I have lived and worked in Boston for about 20 years now, and I cannot think of a better place to live if you want to take advantage of all of Boston's incredibly different neighborhoods. Living in Bay Village means you can get to many of the city's major attractions within about a 30-minute walk. From Fenway Park to the TD Garden to the Italian food of the North End to the Back Bay shopping scene to the art scene and fantastic restaurants of the South End to historic downtown Boston and even to the very lively Seaport neighborhood. Bay Village is like a tiny little bullseye in the middle of the Metro Boston dartboard. This neighborhood is a quick walk to all of the major train lines and is also perfectly located near access to I-90, I-93, Sturrow Drive, and you're only about a 10-minute drive from Logan Airport, so if you want to get out of the city, you have plenty of ways to do that living in this neighborhood. Along with that central location, the second pro of living in Bay Village is something that I have echoed in some of these other neighborhoods in Boston, and that is the historic Boston charm. It feels like someone cut a little sliver out of Beacon Hill and dropped the neighborhood on the other side of Boston Common. And much like Beacon Hill, once you get off those main thoroughfares that surround the neighborhood, it's kind of like you're being transported to a quiet European street in the middle of the 19th century. I walked and drove around Boston for years before I even realized that Bay Village existed, because despite its central location, it's almost entirely residential. So unless you actually live within the few blocks that make up the neighborhood, there's really not many reasons that you would find yourself there, and it's actually very easy to walk right by it. The neighborhood has a very intimate and tranquil feel, and the tree-lined streets feature rows of federal-style townhouses. It definitely feels like a small village in the middle of a big city. Pro number three is the tight-knit community vibe. And there are a few factors that contribute to this tight-knit vibe here, and one is the small scale of the neighborhood itself. Then you have the picturesque historic feel, and also these man-made barriers that surround the neighborhood. You have corporate offices to the west, a wall of hotels and the Park Plaza Castle to the north, Tufts Medical Center to the east, and the Massachusetts Turnpike at the southern edge create this sort of barrier around Bay Village, making it easier for neighborhood outsiders to pass right by and for residents to feel a bit more connected to each other in this quiet, secluded little neighborhood that just happens to be right in the middle of everything in this city. There are some small local businesses mostly on the perimeter of the neighborhood, including Mike and Patty's, which is a great spot to pop in for a breakfast sandwich if you are anywhere around this neighborhood. Now, despite being from the heart of Dunkin' Donut land, I am a bit of a snob when it comes to a cook-to-order breakfast sandwich, but it can be very hard to find a quick and easy one in the heart of the city, where all the eggs seem to be reheated in a microwave and taste like they were grown in a lab. But Mike and Patty's is a very different story. So it's not just another Dunkies or Starbucks here, and the shop feels very perfectly located in this quiet little oasis of a neighborhood. So I do typically include access to green spaces and parks in the pros sections of these videos, and this neighborhood does feature a couple of small, snoozy little parks, but I do invite you to take a look at some of those other videos of the surrounding neighborhoods outside of Bay Village for some additional positive elements of this area. I'm just trying to keep this video from being too repetitive and featuring things that I mentioned in like the Back Bay, South End, and downtown videos as well. That said, I do want to mention a few drawbacks about Bay Village that are not likely to come as a surprise for those of you who are looking to move to a small, beautiful, perfectly located part of Boston. So drawback number one is the cost of living. And the central location of this historic neighborhood does offer convenience and that iconic Boston beauty, but it does come with a higher cost of living.
What do you mean? I have $100.
Not anymore, you don't. Poof.
Housing prices and everyday expenses in Bay Village tend to be on the pricier side, and the small scale of this desirable neighborhood means homes don't come up for sale here very often. So I did pull some sales and rental rate figures up, but you're just gonna have to take them with a grain of salt because the sales and rental volume here just is not what it is in larger neighborhoods of Boston. So with that said, let's dive into some of these median sales prices for condos over the last 12 months. And for studios, I can only find one studio that sold in the last 2 years, and that went for $489,000. One bedrooms, only 2 one-bedrooms have changed hands in the last 3 years for a median sales price of $530,000. For 2 bedrooms, there were 3 sales in the last year for a median sales price of $1.15 million. And for 3 bedrooms, there were 3 in the last year for a median sales price of $1.93 million. And rentals are a little bit easier to come by than home sales, but here are the rental rates for apartments over the last 12 months. The studio rental rate is $2,000 a month. The 1-bedroom median rental rate is $2,700 a month. The 2-bedroom median rental rate is $4,800 a month. And the ever elusive 3-bedroom rental rate is going for around $9,750 per month. Again, those are very rough figures due to the ongoing lack of inventory in this neighborhood. But if you want me to keep my eyes open for anything coming up in this neighborhood, please feel free to shoot me a message at that number below or fill out that form in the description, and I'm happy to keep my eyes open for you. Now, beyond that cost of living, the other drawbacks of this neighborhood are not very surprising for a very beautiful, historic, centrally located part of Boston. And those are going to include things like living spaces that are a bit tighter in these older homes, minimal parking, although it is free with a resident sticker, and traffic that is typical of a downtown area, even if it is very quiet within the immediate 12 blocks of this neighborhood. So I realize this was a fairly abbreviated overview of Bay Village compared to some of my other neighborhood profile videos out there, but please like and comment if you still found this helpful, and hopefully some of the visuals in here gave you a better sense of what this neighborhood feels like as well. But I do insist that you check out some of those other videos, especially the ones in the surrounding neighborhoods like Back Bay, South End, and Beacon Hill, because those are all somewhat similar neighborhoods. They all have a bit of that historic, iconic Boston feel, but they all have their own unique characteristics. So I definitely invite you to check those out. And if you want to skip right to a conversation about finding your next home in the Boston area, please feel free to shoot me a message at that number below or fill out that quick form in the description. I'm happy to talk about what you're looking for in your next place. And thank you guys again so much for watching. Please like and comment. It'll help people find our video faster. And please subscribe for more great Boston real estate content. Thanks again, guys. Take care.